starting with the thoracic spine. What's your go-to exercise?
I trained a lot of thoracic in the past, and I never really felt the thoracic until I did this one drill recently. It's the Cobra, you know the Cobra?
Oh, love it, yeah.
But it's kind of like a variation of it. So when I did thoracic work in the past, I'd always feel it in my lower back. So I would have my elbows slightly bent, my hands a little bit more forward, just so I can get my hips on the floor. So that'll take out any pressure on the lower back. And then I'll really think about trying to push the chest out and just squeeze the scaps as hard as I can while driving my hands towards me. And that was a sensation I actually never felt before, even when I did all these other thoracic drills. So I think it's important to actually be able to feel the thoracic, especially for guys like you and me where we have a lot of muscle in our back. It can be quite difficult to feel it. So besides that drill, my go-to drill is it's a drill from Joachim Hildesheim. It's where you line a foam roller on your thoracic, and then you set it up just in front of a store bar or maybe a barbell at the bottom. And then you kind of lock yourself in with your arms straight. So you're holding the bar. And then you lift your legs up, and then you just drop your body. It's pretty intense because it's like a bodyweight exercise. But the stretch I get from that it's pretty incredible. But you can always regress it. Like the regression would be same setup, but maybe you're holding a dumbbell behind you, kind of like a dumbbell pullover, and then you just drop the dumbbell back and then pull it back up. So then you're not actually dropping the hips and lifting it up, it's more the arms. But that would be my go-to, and that's something that I do every week.
That bodyweight pullover is an absolute game changer because it ticks a couple boxes at once. We're trying to isolate each section having the thoracic, but that also gets shoulder opening because it's essentially a bodyweight pullover because you're opening up, but you're also getting a fulcrum at your thoracic to allow you to open up as well. Fantastic. I use that one quite a lot. And the first one that you mentioned there, the Cobra, that's a real active drill because a lot of the stuff we do with the thoracic spine, it's going over a foam roller. We just going passively and it feels good in the moment. But with what you just mentioned, you're building that strength in your posterior chain and the thoracic extension.
I agree. And I think you got to be really, you got to choose a drill where you don't feel the lower back, because I was trying so many different drills, like even standing and then trying to do like this kind of back bend movement, always feeling my lower back. And I was like, oh, I can't even feel my thoracic at all.
Because on paper, you're doing standing extensions. You're getting the entire spine moving backwards, but you got the hips to take care of. If you're not squeezing your glutes maximally, it'll be all lower back.
So when you put that fulcrum on your thoracic, it's like, it's magic.
My go-to option for the thoracic spine is the butcher's block.
Oh, nice.
Old faithful butcher's block, because you are getting overhead mobility in there as well, but it's a loaded position. So you got your elbows fixed, you're trying to stay as hollow as possible, but you're sinking your chest towards the floor. And it's great because over time you breathe, you do some contract, relax, you sink a little bit deeper. And I love doing things where it's a combination exercise. So it's not just purely the thoracic, you're getting what you actually need in your real training, which is thoracic extension plus lifting the arms overhead.
Have you actually tried putting like a weight belt over your thoracic and then having a weight hang off it to try to...
No. Will, you're just coming to this chat with absolute fire straight away. I would have never thought of that.
Because I did this exercise back at Nirvana in classes, a partner exercise, where someone was in that position and the other person kind of pushes them down to get even deeper. So I was wondering, like, is there a way you could do it where you could make it so it's the same kind of stimulation, that feeling of being pushed down where you can actually fight into it and get deeper?
Because you don't always have that luxury of having a partner, getting them always around reliably to push you down. It's not consistent with how much pressure they put. They might get excited, put a ton of pressure, you like settle down there.
100%. But you should try it and let me know. I don't know.
Yeah, because I usually do the butcher's block with a weight in the hands, but that's predominantly loading the overhead component, stretching the long-headed triceps, your lats as well.
And how do you do the butcher block? Do you do it holding a weight like this behind your back?
Yeah.
What kind of weight is it? Is it like a dumbbell or is it a weight plate or what do you use?
I like going for what people universally have. Like you can get fancy with some type of fixed barbell at the gym, but you don't always have that. My go-to option is just dumbbell.
Yeah, nice.
I like it because it's neutral grip, feels comfortable on the shoulders, keeps you locked in as well, so you're less likely to flare out. Nothing fancy.
Do you feel like the wider the grip is or the closer the grip is changes anything at all?
I think you can kind of fake range of motion if you take a wide position, similar to how you do it with overhead press. You'd feel more range going wider versus in close. But with a mobility drill, you want to make it challenging, so shoulder width is what I choose.
Yes, awesome.
Want to increase your flexibility? Fitness FAQs has the best programs to get supple and strong. Shop Fitness FAQs and move freely in your body.
Next up is the forgotten area of the spine, which would be rotation. What have you found most helpful for opening up the upper spine?
So I've done a little bit of experimenting with rotational work, and I find a lot of rotation drills don't really give me that much stimulus. And coming from like a bodybuilding background, I love weighted stuff, so weighted mobility. So what I've been doing recently is the windmill, kettlebell windmill.
Yeah.
So that one feels absolutely amazing. And the whole idea of, lifting that weight up and then pressing it overhead, it almost feels like a strongman type of thing. Obviously it's not that heavy, but it gives me that feeling. And then just try to turn into it and then hinge. You hit the thoracic as well as the side of the flexion as well.
You're getting rotation and side flexion, 2 for 1.
It feels amazing. And so initially I was using a kettlebell, but I felt like the kettlebell, because the weight is on the outside of the arm, it kind of assists me in getting that rotation. So I felt like I was a little bit cheating. And so I wanted to make it more active. So then I used a dumbbell, which actually made me work more because I had to force myself into that rotation. And then at some point I got to a stage where it's not heavy enough. So now I switched to a barbell with weights. That's a little bit sketchier, right? Because it requires more technique. You have to be able to get the bar up, and then you have to somehow shift one hand into the middle of the bar. And because it's longer lever, you can't actually rep it out as you could with maybe a kettlebell and a dumbbell. Because when you're spinning, the rotation is quite slow. And so when you press back up, it's quite sketchy to try to spin it back. So for that, it's more of a 1 RM type of lift now, but it feels amazing on the thoracic when I just turn into it and hinge.
Where I like to bring it back practically for people, because they'll see you doing this with kettlebell, dumbbell, barbell, and just be enamored by what you can do. It's really impressive to load it up with that awkward strength. But ultimately, just look at the movement pattern. You're doing that side bend, you're doing the windmill, you're doing the rotation. The key thing is you're loading it up. It's a loaded movement. It's challenging. It's progressible with range of motion, control, as well as how much actual weight that you're using. Those are the key things. What you choose to implement, because you've built up with the kettlebell, you can do it with dumbbell. Yeah. And if you get strong enough at those, you'll be able to do the barbell, albeit very difficult to control.
100%. And I think you can always regress that movement. So if you get down into a kneeling position, you can use your hand to help you to rotate as well, which is going to be much more easier than doing it standing up.
I'm going to keep it simple for rotation. What I really like is just thoracic whips. So you have a stick behind your back, you dynamically just go to end range, rhythmically breathe, left, right, high rep. It's not loaded, so you can access a further range of motion because you're just whipping into it, as opposed to if you just sat there and tried to twist. Doing a set of 60 of these, one way, the other way, it just feels awesome afterwards. And you'd look at this and think, oh, how does rotation improve my thoracic extension? Well, the spine isn't just moving like this. It also has the intervertebral joints and how it rotates like this. So if your goal is to extend, if all you do is extension, you're going to run out of capacity. But by having that rotation, you can access your full range of motion. A loaded movement that I like is the same thing done with a band. So you twist, and as you get to end range, it gets more difficult towards the end. So this would be the more strength movement. where you do it for sets and reps, hold it at the end. You can take the band off, and you can do some body weight reps where you've supercharged your nervous system, and then you've got that deeper range of motion with the body weight as well.
It's funny that you mentioned that exercise because that's one of my go-to exercises for warming up. I'd always do the rotations, and then I'll do it into like a diagonal style, both ways, and I'll do like this kind of like a figure 8 style,
Yeah.
and then I'll hinge down and do the same thing with the rotation. But yeah, I would agree with you. It's an amazing drill. Have you actually tried it with a barbell?
No, because I'm immortal.
Using a barbell, because it's weighted, when you spin it, it creates a torque.
Oh, yeah.
Right, so it's actually hard to stop it.
Yeah.
So you got to be quite careful. But since it's weighted, it actually gets you into a deeper position. So it's quite an interesting one. If you do it, get in a deep position, then try to hold it, and then come back, spin the other way, try and hold it. It's a bit different. But
Sounds
it's
like a
nice.
recipe for some DOMs and deeper range. What I would say with the rotation, where possible, kneel. You'll notice when I'm doing these isolated thoracic rotations, I'm kneeling because flexors the pelvis, lumbar spine, posterior pelvic tilt. You can't move from the lumbar, and we all love moving from the lumbar. Most of us got these big anterior pelvic tilts, a lot of ROM in our lower back, and by taking that out of the equation, it really highlights how restricted, if you're anything like us, you actually are through the thoracic interrotation.
Yep, I agree with you. I definitely notice that when I do anything standing up rotation, I feel the hips wanting to move side from side and rotating. So yeah, it's a good idea.
The obliques, the lats, potentially the QL, TFL. I'm going to go first that you don't steal my exercise and I can actually give some insights to the audience. I love the hanging cobra on rings done with a side bend.
I think that's the drill I was going to mention.
Haha, sucked in, mate. Sucked in. I love it on rings because you've got the freedom of movement, so you can twist and contort your body to find your particular vector that is most tight. With a bar, you can still get an effective stretch through there as well, but most people trying it for the first time, there can be a lot of stretch, especially if you're getting a lot of your body weight. I like to do this with leg support to start with and flexing the pelvis. Same principle we discussed before. If you posteriorly pelvic tilt, then you're fixing the origin insertion of the lats so that you can just move one side of that rubber band. And over time, you can increase the duration, you can increase how much body weight that you're supporting. And also, eventually, you can just do it on one arm. So when you first get into it, you can have a stretching side, but then also an assisting side. Because if you just jump straight into one arm, your body's going to kind of seize up and it won't access its deepest range of motion. So for me, that one is epic. I love doing sets of around 60 seconds. I like doing some contract relax as well. So you pull down, pull down, pull down, you relax, and then you use the upper trap to shrug up, sideways bend, you get this lovely stretch to the side.
You basically mentioned everything that I was going to say. But yeah, that stretch is incredible. Like the amount of stretch I feel on that, I have to literally, if I'm in that position for 60 seconds, I have to take a good, 15, 20 seconds trying to come out of that. Because I feel like everything's just so stretched that if I suddenly come out of it, it's just going to do something weird, like seize up or cramp. But I love the exercise. So maybe another one would be, have you ever tried holding up a pipe and then putting a band over one side and then stepping on the band with the foot on the same side and then holding it so you're in the overhead position and then you kind of just come down as far as you can to one side. So then you're stretching at the same time strengthening and then you come back up and you're doing that for reps.
So what you're getting there is you're accessing a deeper side bend because the band's pulling you down,
Right.
But then on the way up, you're strengthening the opposite side, obliques, all that stuff. That's good.
So that one's really killer, I find. It just sucks. I mean, it doesn't suck as the one that you mentioned, but it still sucks.
And a great variation of that exact same drill for lateral flexion is just holding a weight and just doing it through range, because maybe you don't have bands or you've done the drill that we just spoke about for 6 weeks. You want some variation, but to also improve the same attributes. That is a good one. Bit tricky with your posture and body position. This is one where you've got to be really mindful of, okay, square the body up, twist to the side, chest up, keep it facing that way, keep the glutes squeezed, just bend sideways. It's like a crunch on that side. And then you come up, staying mindful every single rep.
You could always potentially do it with your back against the wall to help you stop your abdominal compensations. But if you want to make it even easier, you could probably just carry a weight and just let it hang and do the same thing. But I like doing it with the arms overhead because you get that stretch all the way down the side of the body. Or you could even maybe try to grab it wider, because as you said, the more wider you grab, the easier it's going to be. It's going to be less tension on the side of the body, but it's probably going to be a bit more accessible to others.
If you like this video, you're going to love what's up next, right over here. Test out that lateral flexion of the spine, the neck. Go on.